Today we'll be unleashing the full destructive capabilities of ransomware, and I will be giving you some tips and tricks on how you can protect yourself and avoid becoming a victim of this dangerous and destructive malware, hence the disclaimer. So if the recent WannaCry ransomware epidemic has taught us a lesson, is that ransomware is really going to be, and really is, the next generation of malware that cyber criminals are going to use to take over our computers and extort money out of us, and extort money out of corporations, and there could be billions of dollars in losses from this type of malicious software. So today I'm going to show you a couple of different samples of ransomware, as well as give you some tips and tricks on how to prevent becoming a victim, as well as just the overall general idea of how this malicious software actually works. So on the desktop here we have a couple of samples of ransomware. I have Jigsaw, which is a file encrypting ransomware that actually does not disable the computer. And I have Petya, which is a master boot record encrypting malware that does disable the computer. So I'm going to show you how both of these work, and then I'm going to go over maybe some ideas or some tips and tricks on how to protect yourself from becoming a victim. So on this computer, we have, if we look in our pictures folder here, we have some sample pictures here that just come standard with the computer. Generally, what malware will, this type of malware will do is look for these type of files, pictures, documents, etc., things that people cherish, digital information that people generally want to keep around, and it encrypts them and then asks you to pay a ransom in Bitcoin usually, or some other kind of untraceable payment. So the first sample we're going to look at is Jigsaw. I'm going to start up the task manager here so we can see the process happen in memory. So as the disclaimer said, never ever duplicate this on your computer or anyone else's. You will lose your files, and you could potentially go to jail if you were to execute this malware on somebody's computer without their consent. So here we go. Disclaimers aside, let's run the malware. Immediately it wants to run this random executable file. It is in memory right here. It has a label of Firefox, but it's named jigsaw.exe, and this is a clean machine, so there is no Firefox on this machine. If we take a look at the properties of the file, details here. Well, immediately we can notice on the copyright 1999 to 2012 Firefox and Mozilla spelled incorrectly. That's not how you spell Mozilla. Mozilla develop, let me just expand this. Mozilla developers. That will never, the copyrights are never written that way. That's a common that's one way you can tell that this is actually malware. Also, original file name bitcoinblackmailer.exe, so it's been renamed. So, very interesting. That's one way you can tell if a file is malicious or not, just by looking at the copyright properties as well as some of the other information about the file. Obviously, you want to do that before you execute it, like I did. But anyways, let's go ahead and run this other executable. We get this fake congratulations message, which is used to confuse a user. We see it running here in memory, and there you go. It's now eating away at memory, and it's using a lot of CPU, as we can see here. Over 90% of the CPU is going towards this program. Now it's dropping back down. And if we take a look at our files, pictures, we can see that they are no longer the same as they were. They've been modified with this .fun extension. Nothing is fun about this. Even if we change the extension here and we go back to JPEG, say yes to that, you notice that we still cannot access our files. Normally there would be some kind of a ransomware window that would pop up here giving you instructions on how to decrypt your files or pay the cyber criminals. I don't think it's working because the command and control servers for this particular piece of malware are probably down. So that's why we're not seeing it. I will show you an example of a ransomware window on the screen. So I'm going to go ahead and restore this machine to a clean state, but this is basically how a basic file encrypting ransomware program works. Now we're going to take a look at something that's a little bit more serious, something that actually can hold your entire computer hostage. So I will be right back. Okay, so I've restored this machine to a clean state, and we'll go in here and we'll take a look at our pictures. There they are, back again, and we can see that we can open them. They're no longer modified. So now we're going to take a look at another example of ransomware that I think is really the future of this cyber crime, and that is a master boot record encrypting malware. Basically, your master boot record is what is used to boot your operating system and boot your computer up so you can use it in user mode or normal mode, whatever you want to call it. But this particular ransomware is called Petya. It is it encrypts your master boot record and disables your computer, modifying it so that you see the ransom note, and then it basically requires you to pay the cyber criminals so that they can give you the decryption key to get your computer back, basically. So you can either, you know, throw your computer in a bin, or you can pay them, or you can just format the drive and lose all your files. So we're going to take a look at how this one works, and once again, never do this at home. Immediately it wants administrative privileges. There it is right there in memory. We can see that it's and my machine crashed. That was a virtual machine, by the way. It wasn't my real machine. So if we go ahead and start up the virtual machine again, yeah, the virtual machine's name is LabRat. It will go into check disk, but this won't help. Your computer is basically done at this point. I'll be right back when check disk is done. Okay, as we can see, we have a scary flashing skull here. The machine rebooted after check disk. If we press any key, you have become the victim of Petya ransomware, and it basically tells you to download the Tor browser, which is a way of them hiding their identity. Go to those links, and then here's your decryption code, and then it wants you to enter a key to get your computer back. So basically, and as you can see, I just entered a couple letters there, and it's an incorrect key. So really, I think this is the future of ransomware, where they take entire computers hostage and demand payment. If they were to do this to corporations, they could really cripple them if they hit the right systems. So I'm going to restore this machine again, and then we can take a look at some options of how you can protect yourself and not be a victim of this kind of malicious software. So now that we've looked at ransomware and how it affects your system, now I'm going to talk to you about some tools that I've read about, heard about, or seen that will help to protect your system from a potential ransomware attack. The first one comes from Kaspersky. It's Kaspersky's Anti-Ransomware Tool. Basically, I have not reviewed any of these tools, by the way. I'm planning on it, but I have not gotten around to it yet. Basically, any ransomware that loads up in memory is supposed to be taken down by Kaspersky. I believe it uses a combination of behavioral analysis as well as maybe some signatures. Bitdefender also offers an anti-ransomware tool. I haven't really... I've heard better things about Kaspersky than I have Bitdefender, but that is also another option. And as you can see, it protects against Petya, supposedly. Malwarebytes also has an anti-ransomware tool, but this is also integrated into Malwarebytes' anti-malware, their paid version, but you can also get the free beta tool. But personally, what I use, again, this is not an endorsement for any of these companies. I'm just looking at options and showing you options as to what you can try to protect yourself from ransomware. Personally, what I use is Komodo. It has an auto-containment feature, and if we go here to my actual machine, and we open up Komodo here, I use their full internet security suite. It has auto-containment, which basically a file that comes from the internet or a file from a removable drive or anything like that that's not signed, it will virtualize it, and basically it will not allow something like Petya or Jigsaw to modify your files and take over your computer. So I hope this video has been a help to you all. I will put the links to the different anti-ransomware ideas in the description of this video. But always keep an eye out for, these types of attacks, and make sure you can keep your computer up to date with patches. In the case of WannaCry, it used an exploit to spread from computer to computer. So keep your computer up to date, and find a good anti-ransomware tool that works for you and that is going to really keep you and your data safe. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. If you did like this video, hit that like button and subscribe, and I will talk to you later. There's one last thing I forgot to mention at the end of the video, and that is always back up your files. No security solution is perfect, and with the ransomware epidemics we've seen and how sophisticated malware is becoming these days, you always want to have a backup of your files. I currently use a service called Backblaze, which is $50 a year, $95 for 2 years, or $5 a month if you want to pay monthly, and it runs silently in the background and backs up your files to the cloud. There's also other backup options such as external hard drives, as well as services such as Carbonite and Komodo. Again, these are not endorsements to these companies. These are just ideas that you can use to safeguard your files from ransomware and the ever-increasing, growing, sophisticated malware that we're seeing these days. So anyways, as I said before, back up your files and find a good anti-ransomware solution that's going to work for you. So anyways, if you like this video, again, hit that subscribe button, like it, share it, and be safe. Talk to you later.